Let's see how this goes today. Can you all hear me? Let me know if y'all can hear me. Yes. Y'all can hear me? Yes. Okay, yes. Let's see. I'm in my living room, so my light is kind of dim. I have track lighting because I'm a skeezer. So. How's everybody doing? Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you. I got this haircut, right? Oh my God. Listen, my mom cut her hair in her 30s, like back in the day, in the 80s when it was cool to do that. Like late 80s, early 90s. Remember when like Anita Baker and like Toni Braxton and everybody had those short haircuts? So it was really interesting. I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to go cut my hair short. Whatever, right? It's just hair. Like, if you've been following me long enough, you know I cut my hair very often. I cut my hair like, what was it? 2013, I think I cut my hair all off. So, yeah. You're natural. You've been contemplating a cut. Listen, I cut my hair in 1995 at the age of 16 when I was going to an all-white boarding school, and there was no such products as the shit that you have out now. So just do it. Just cut it. Just do it. Just do it. Let it be. Wait, what? Okay, somebody's talking about Hillary Clinton, so I'm going to block him. I don't know what that's about. Who's here is the first time? First time, where you from? Let me know where you guys are from. We always kind of check in. I want to see where people are watching from. We're going to be talking about American gun violence, but, you know, I tend to have some international followers. So we've got a lot of folks. Brooklyn, I see. Atlanta, St. Louis, Indiana, Brazilian living in Mamaroneck. I mean, you could have just said Mamaroneck. Dallas, ATL, San Jose, California, Argentina. Yes, we love that. Detroit is always in the house, it seems. Maryland by way of Nigeria. El Paso. I get, Australia. Yes, I get a lot of Texan folks and California. What up, Cali? Good to see you. Philadelphia, you guys know that's my home away from home. Massachusetts, New York. Of course, New York is in the house. I am a native New Yorker. And forgive me, I may take off my glasses just because they're reflecting this computer and it's kind of pissing me off a little bit. All right. Bonjour. Comment ça va? You coming in from France? It's kind of late out there, huh? We're going to talk about American gun violence. Okay? Jersey is in the building. What's up? Time for percolate. It's time for percolate. It's time. BX in the house. BX always got to stand up. That's where we're broadcasting live from the Bronx right now. So shout out to everybody that's from the Bronx, representing the birthplace of hip hop. Do I speak French? I actually speak Spanish and Black. I speak Black. Black's a language. You're raised in the Bronx? That's dope. South Carolina, that's where my mother's family's from. All right, so let's get into this. It's 8:59. I guess we can get into this, right? So what are we talking about today, folks? And I'm going to try to get comfortable because we've got a lot to talk about. Okay. So first of all, we know that this week, yesterday, just horrible tragedy, where a news anchor and her cameraman, and the woman that they were interviewing were all shot, while they were in the middle of an interview. The woman, Allison, died. Cameraman died. The woman they were interviewing was shot, but she was taken to the hospital, and after surgery, they said she was in stable condition, so it looks like she's going to be okay. I haven't heard anything. I've kind of been avoiding any of the follow-up because it's just been a whole lot. I watched this morning her fiance on CNN, and, I mean, obviously, you can tell that this man loved her. I mean, so really kind of, sending our condolences and rest in peace and all of that because, God, what the fuck is going on with this country? And if you're new to my my weekly Periscope chat, I curse a lot. I use the N-word a lot. I'm just letting you know, like, off the cuff, this is just me especially when I'm getting into the spirit of things. I don't give a single solitary motherfuck, okay? So if y'all ain't ready, got the kids around, you might want to put your headphones in. This is not safe for children. This is not for the young folks. You know, this is just who I am, so I'm letting y'all know that. But let's talk about the nigga that shot him. Oh my God. Man, oh man. So if you have been following me for a long time, you know that when these things happen, the social worker in me, the mental health social worker, always kind of goes to that place of looking at like, okay, so what the hell was going on with this person? Like, why did they shoot these people? You know, I look at their social media pages. I look at all that kind of stuff. I'm like, what the fuck was happening? So when somebody said that this guy was posting on Twitter and Facebook, I immediately went to both of those. And with TweetDeck, you can kind of open it up and keep the whole column open of their tweets. And then I went to Facebook and I saved the video just to, you know, just whatever. And I watched this video and I watched this man who filmed himself shooting these people. What the fuck? Get me off this fucking planet. Like, we are now in a world where motherfuckers are shooting people for likes and retweets, okay? Motherfuckers are adjusting camera angles so that people watching can get the best possible clear fucking angle to see them killing motherfuckers. And posting that shit on Twitter and Facebook like, boom, this is what I did. Ain't no thing but a chicken wing in the spring. I just killed 2 motherfuckers. Here you go. Well, here it go. Retweet me, motherfucker. More likes. Follow me for more likes. Like, this nigga was really on some shit. Did y'all see his timeline? Like, on some, yes, he adjusted the motherfucking camera. But here's what's the shit, right? And if it seems like I'm making light of this, I'm really not. Like, please don't take my laughter and my affect, because this whole shit is so fucking ridiculous. I don't know what else to do. I don't have any other response. Like, don't take it as me being callous or uncaring, because I really do care about this shit. But for those who didn't see the video, first of all, watching the video of the cameraman's video was just enough. And did y'all see that reporter? She was just like, so we don't know what just happened, but we'll get that information back to you. Bitch, you know what happened! Your fucking colleagues just got shot. But shout out to her for keeping it cool, because I think she was in shock. Like, she just watched that, and then here comes this big fucking camera in front of her. And what's up with people, like, equating good journalism with not showing any feelings or anything like that? Have you noticed that somebody was tweeting about that? I can't recall who it is. I'm not trying to plagiarize, but somebody said something about, you know, why are we in this place where we equate good journalism with your ability to not show emotions? That's not good. You're a human being. Like, we shouldn't have a marker of that somebody remains stoic, so that means that they're a good journalist. Get the fuck out of here. If you want to react, you can react, and it's okay. I think she was just in shock, and she is just like, holy, okay, we have to go. Like, get the camera off of me. I did my job, you know, that kind of thing. And so, like, she was really stunned, and I felt bad for her. But you know, you see that kind of stuff all the time, like with the people that are in the studio when weird shit happens and it goes back to them, they're kind of like, okay, and then now for the weather, you know, that's kind of what they're trained to do. But it's not indicative of being a better journalist or a better anchor than somebody else that you are that stoic, right? So let's just get that shit out of there. But then, so seeing that video was enough, right? But then the motherfucker logs on to Twitter and the Facebook and is on some shit like, hey, look at this video. By the way, oh, I killed some motherfuckers. What? How is this happening? Okay, so if you're watching it, it's like a horror fan who's watching the white people that always get killed, because you know white people don't know how to fucking run. You know, the black people are gonna run. White people just stand there trying to figure shit out. And you watching a horror movie like, white people, fucking move. Bitch, why are you still there? Bitch, move. Bitch, get out the way. Bitch, what are you doing? What the fuck? So it was one of those things where you're just like, you're seeing this man pointing this gun, and you're like, oh my God, move, he's gonna shoot you. And she doesn't see him. Because she's so focused and doing her job, right? Because she really cared about what she's doing. She was a good anchor. And she's intent into this woman that she's interviewing. And she's talking with them. And he was cool. Now, this is a big dude. I don't know if y'all saw, this is a fat nigga, too. So he wasn't no little skinny motherfucker. This is a fat nigga in a fucking, like, army kind of shit who rolled up on them. It's okay to laugh. There's healing in humor. It's okay. Like, I mean, that's why I bring it. Because we have to laugh sometimes. We have to try to heal and kind of work through these things, right? So, this motherfucking fat nigga comes up. And he's got this gun pointed, looking like a fucking video game. And he just goes, and he's kind of waving it a little bit, right? But like the person said, they're trained to ignore people. Look at all the videos we see of wayward-ass niggas popping up in the back of their shit, fucking doing the nay-nay and shit. You know, niggas always want to fuck up a anchor's kind of, you know, they're trying to get this great shot, and you motherfuckers want to jump in the back. So they're used to ignoring that shit. And then if she happened to see him out the corner of the eye, probably recognized the motherfucker as a coworker. Cause he was working with them, right? He was disgruntled as fuck. And so he's working with them. He was waiting for her to see him. And I absolutely agree with you. He wanted to be seen. He wanted to be acknowledged. He wanted to wait and be like, bitch, see me. And this is why. If you got to see his timeline, which I did, for the last 2 weeks, he was posting pictures of himself as a model, showing people that he was modeling for Macy's and all these different places, that he was a young model. He showed clips of him walking the runway in the 80s, a little fucking chubby ass Albie Shore looking nigga. Yeah, the light skin with the S curl. He had all of that going. He was modeling for all these different places. He was showing the clips of the newspaper clippings and the catalog clippings and all these things. And he was like, wasn't I cute? Look at me. Wasn't I good looking? Wasn't I handsome? And so what I started thinking about was he someone that was rejected, right? What's going on here where he is looking for this validation about his appearance, right? So then we find out that he's gay, he's black, you know, in his manifesto, he's writing about how he was bullied and targeted and rejected and all these kinds of things for being a fat black man, right? So I think that a lot of that was connected to who he used to be, how he used to get attention. He used to be, you know, people used to regard him as attractive. He wasn't attractive to me, but whatever. Somebody regarded him as attractive enough that he wanted to post this and remind people that at one point he did look good. At one point he was attractive enough. And if he was feeling a certain way about not getting certain airtime or whatever, he may have connected that to his change in appearance. He definitely put on a lot of weight, all this stuff like that. He had a lot of freckles on his face, which got covered with the makeup. He had some issues with aesthetic. He had some issues with how he was being received. Yes, he felt incredibly inadequate. And as we know, and if you follow my timeline, every single week, at least once a week, I'm posting about a black woman being killed because some motherfucker felt inadequate. Okay? So this is not uncommon. This is not some, you know, oh, he's mentally ill, he's on the fringe, he's whatever. I don't know about this man. I'm not going to speculate about this man, but what I do know is that we need to stop automatically dismissing these kinds of killings as just being about mental illness. Like I said, I'm a mental health social worker, and I've been working with some people who are among the most vulnerable people, and those are people with psychiatric disorders, and those are the people who are more likely to be affected by gun violence than to perpetuate it. So when we go to this place, like her dad said, we have to get guns out of the hands of crazy people. Well, it's not really the crazy people who have the guns. In the United States, there's over 240 million guns. Do you know that there's 88 guns per 100 American citizens? Do you guys know this? Do you guys know this shit about your country? Let's read some other statistics about American gun violence. Yeah, there's an estimated 283 million guns in civilian hands. Not military, civilian hands. Each year, about 4.5 million firearms, including approximately 2 million handguns, are sold in the United States. The percentage of American households with guns has been steadily declining. It was a high of 54% in 1977. Over half of American households had guns. And now they're down to 33%. However, the 33% that have these guns, they own 283 million fucking guns. Okay? They're hoarding these motherfucking guns. Okay? That's an American problem. It's an American cultural problem. Don't let anybody tell you different. More than 30,000 people are killed by firearms each year in this country. More than 30 people are shot and murdered each day. Half of the people that are killed are between the ages of 18 and 35. A third of the people killed are under the age of 20. Last week, there were about 2 to 3 stories that came out about children accidentally shooting themselves or somebody else because they got hold of gun. Kids under the age of 10. Okay? That's a problem. But let me tell you something about America. America don't give a fuck about children. And I want y'all to hear me. Yes, I said it. America does not give a fuck about children. Y'all thought that things was going to change after Sandy Hook? No. America doesn't give a fuck about children. America has exploited children in ways that are indescribable. And I'm not going to try to freak people out or whatever. I'm not trying to trigger anybody. I'm not trying to cause any issues. But America does not give a fuck about children. Okay, like I told y'all on Twitter a couple of weeks ago, last month, one site, one child exploitation, sexual exploitation, I don't call it child porn, I don't call it kiddie porn, ain't none of that shit. It's not a fucking consensual genre of porn, it is the sexual exploitation of children. One site was taken out with 215,000 subscribers. In America. Okay? America does not give a fuck about children. Just put it out there, okay? So when children die by gunfire, that's not enough. That's not motivating enough. Because they don't give a fuck about kids. White kids might have a shot at being cared about. But overall, they don't give a fuck about kids. So that's American gun statistics, right? Okay, what else we got? Did you know that in 2015, America has had 247 mass shootings? There's only been 238 days. You guys know that? There's been more mass shootings than there have been days in the year. Okay? Mass shooting is consistent of, I think it's where 2 or more people are killed at one time. 247. Did you know? Wait. There's more. There's one more thing. Hold on. Because this wasn't really important to me. I pointed this out. You guys are reeling over this shit, huh? Okay, so the thing that we're not talking about is how many of these are related to domestic violence. Okay? Here's what we're missing. What are we missing? The big picture on mass shootings. Huffington Post Politics has a article out. Read it. It's called "We're Missing the Big Picture on Mass Shootings." Okay? The majority of these mass shootings are domestic violence related. Men are the overwhelming perpetrators of these mass shootings, and the overwhelming victims are women and children. Women and children that they know. A couple of weeks ago, we talked about the man that killed his ex-wife and all 6 of the kids and her current husband. Yeah. Even killed his own child. At least one of the children was his. Couldn't let her go. Mad that she was with somebody else. If you go to my blog, feministajones.com/blog, do a search for 10 years. I've got a post on there called "I've been writing about this for 10 years." And in this post, I have been documenting and chronicling the murders of women in domestic violence related situations. The majority of the women are women of color. The majority of the women are mothers. A good number of them were pregnant while they were killed. Most of them were killed by guns. We have a problem here in this country. Men have a problem in this country. I don't give a fuck what you about to say. You can say, oh, well, women kill people too. Listen, motherfucker, I will bring out statistics. It's what I do. I have a sociology degree. I will bring out the statistics to shut you the fuck up. This is a very male problem. And we all know what it is an extension of. Okay? We live in a country that tells men that from childhood, we teach boys that violent aggression is the way you show manhood. Violent aggressive acquisition of tokens are how you exhibit manhood. And those tokens are women, cars, and wealth, money, right? Women, cars, money. It's funny how the cars thing kind of, remember when all those SUVs were coming out and they all looked like penises? Nobody noticed that so many of those cars were shaped like dicks. Somebody said rap music. Nope, this shit existed way before rap music. Rap music is actually a product of the oppression caused by this patriarchal bullshit. Hip-hop and rap music was born out of the oppression that led to black and brown people being oppressed in a way that they needed to have a voice. And all the men in hip-hop did was take what they learned from their patriarchal masters and turned it around in a way to show themselves as men. And it came out through the hip-hop in which they began to abuse black women and Latina women as a way of proving to those oppressive patriarchal white men that they too were men. Look at us. We can abuse our women too, just like you. Want to welcome us to the club? Okay, let's are we really going to talk about how men of color spend all their time emulating white men and trying to be accepted as full men by them? They want their cars, they want their jobs, they want their money, they want their women. And until they get them, they're going to continue to abuse women of color and subjugate women of color until they achieve those things. This is around the world. This is not an American issue. This is around the world. You can go to any culture where the people of color, the men of color, spend their entire existences trampling on the women of color, seeking approval from white men to validate their manhood. It's the bottom fucking line. I really don't care what you have to say in opposition to it. You can eat a fat dick. I'll tell you, dick, it tastes good, so go ahead and enjoy it. But that's the matter of fact, that's the truth, and you want to go read and educate yourself, so fuck it. I don't want to hear not all men. You can kiss my black ass and then lick it with your fucking not all men shit. So, back to the fucking men in America with all these fucking guns. Niggas be shooting blanks, so they gotta shoot guns. Can't get their way with the women, gotta shoot guns. Get fired from their jobs, gotta shoot guns. Can't make enough money, gotta shoot guns. The only thing they have control of. You ever held a gun? You ever shot a gun? I've shot a gun before. It's a very, very powerful feeling. Even when you're shooting at nothing. You're holding this piece of steel in your hand that can kill somebody. It can take out a life. It can kill animals. It can break things. It can destroy things. Bullets fired out of these pieces of steel can destroy things. It's a very powerful feeling when you hold it in your hand. Lala, who? 210 is a troll? Okay, when they pop up, I'll block them. Thank you for letting me know. So, when you think about men who have no power, right? A lot of rich white men don't have guns. You notice that? You know that, right? Rich white men, they don't collect guns like that. If they do, they're up on the wall because they're collector's items, because they can afford the collector's items. They don't need them. Poor people have guns. Let's be real. Poorer people, lower middle class people have guns. The people who have nothing, the disenfranchised white men, these people you see at these rallies, these poor white men that you see at these rallies, these men who can't get ahead in life, they're the ones with the guns. They're the ones stockpiling the guns. Okay? Disenfranchised men of color, those are the ones with the guns. Okay? You said rich people hire people to kill people. They're smart. They're not gonna put their hands on that. Like, you never thought of it that way, but rich motherfuckers don't have guns. What the fuck does a rich man need a gun for? He has money. He can get whatever he wants. Right? We have to think about that. We have to think of what guns represent in this country. We have to think about what they do for people. They make people feel powerful. And if you're a man, right? If you're a man, a real fucking American man, certain things you're supposed to have. Fuck yeah, I'm smart. Fuck you watching me for if you think I'm not smart. Of course I'm smart. Real fucking American men have to have these things. What do they have to have, y'all? Gotta have bitches. Gotta have bitches. You gotta have a mean stroke game. Guns, cars, money, women. Yes, you gotta be able to fuck. So if you a 2-minute motherfucker or you can't make babies, and we're gonna get back to that. You a 2-minute motherfucker, you can't make babies, you ain't a real man. If you can't keep a job, you ain't a real man. If you can't earn enough money to take care of a woman, you ain't a real man. If you don't have enough money to buy things that show everybody else that you have money to spend, you ain't a real man. Right? That's what society says. And so what happens when you are disenfranchised from getting these things? What happens when you're ugly, right? According to their standards. You're ugly and you can't attract women. What happens when you are systemically, kept out of employment and education? So you don't have the means to earn the money. What you gonna do? Where you gonna get that money from? Probably gonna turn to illegal activities, right? What happens when you get into illegal activities? What do you need to do? You need to protect yourself. You need to protect yourself. What do you need to protect yourself? You need guns. You need weapons. You hire people to protect you. See, I don't think the average Black or Latino man that's working in these streets like this, these street pharmacists, these hood cats, I don't think they want to do that. Some of them do. That's fine, whatever. But the majority don't want to do that. They do it because they feel like they have to. They do it because there is this mandate that as a man, you have to provide, you have to take care. I'm going to tell you about someone that I encountered and somebody I was working with. He had been through a lot in his life. Latino man from New York, been through a lot in his life. I mean, we're talking dozens of incarcerations, several felonies on his rap sheet. Came up through a system, mental health issues, homelessness, all of that stuff. Finally got himself together, got a place to live, got a good job, right? Able to sustain himself for the first time in God knows how long, probably his whole life. A legitimate job, career. They accepted him with his felonies and everything. He was doing all right until his sister got sick. His sister got sick and got cancer. And he didn't have money to help her out with the treatment. Family didn't have money. What do y'all think he did? He went back to what he knew. And he said to himself, look, all I got to do is a couple of these runs and I'll get the money that I need to get her into the care. Did those runs, got himself a piece, got himself whatever, knocked over a few people, whatever, got the money that he needed. Then remembered why he was doing it before. The money was quick. It was easy. The lure of it was there. It's like, I'm working all the time, working for this job. 2 weeks, I got to wait for my pay. Here it is. I just did these 2 deals, boom, boom, one day. I got more money than I made in the last 6 months. I gave it to my sister, but here, let me do a couple more and maybe just cushion myself for the next 6 months. Fell right back into it. Next thing you know, he gets caught hitting the dude up with a gun. Guy reported him to the police. Right? Who does that in the streets, right? And he's like, how the fuck he gonna turn me in? That's not what you do in the streets. He's like, come after me with the gun. I would have rather the dude come and put a gun in my face than to, call the cops. But whatever. We're not gonna discuss that. Dude called the cops. He got picked up. Gun charges. Gun charges. He said he had to get a piece because that's the only way he knew he could take care of the things he needed to do. He had to protect himself. Okay. He was carrying a lot of weight, a lot of heat on him, and he felt if somebody's trying to rob him of that and they tried to flip it, he would need his gun to protect himself. Okay, that's just one example. One example. Guns bring that power. They bring that security to people, particularly men, who feel that their lives are not stable enough for them to be considered real men. Okay? That's what we deal with. And unfortunately, how this manifests, at least in our country, is that the majority of the mass shootings are women and children. Okay? They're women and children mainly because you got men who, what do we have to have in order to be a man? You have to have a woman. So if a woman leaves and the woman is like, I'm not going to be with you no more, she's denying him that piece of his manhood. She's leaving him womanless. But having a woman is essential to being a real man. So now she's got to pay for that. Because how dare she rob him of his opportunity to show the world that he is a man? Yes, property, very much so. 3 women die every day from domestic violence in this country, and statistically at least one of them is black. 2013, almost 500 black women were murdered by black men. Well, 91% of them were murdered by black men. That's more than one a day. Okay? Who is the most disenfranchised man in America? Say it with me, class. I'll wait for y'all to catch up because I know there's a delay. Who is the most disenfranchised man in America? Black man. Niggas. Black man. Black man. Black man. The black man. She was a black mother. The black man. Yes. You're all with me, class. So let's correlate this disenfranchisement with black women having this extremely high rate of being murdered by intimate partners who are black men. Most of them, I think it was something like, 54% of the cases, or like something like 54, 56%, a gun was involved. Okay? I just want you to absorb that for a second, because we have to really think about what's happening here. So, gun violence in America is very much connected to the assertion of manhood. Violence against women and violence against children are very much connected to the assertion and display of manhood. We have to figure out a way to eliminate toxic masculinity from our culture because it's killing us. Dollface Mommy, I'm so sorry. I'm just kind of catching up on what you're saying, and I'm so sorry, and thank you for sharing that, and my best wishes and condolences. Oh my goodness, that's tough. But we have to rid our culture of toxic masculinity. This has nothing to do with guns. You guys understand this, right? It's absolutely nothing to do with guns. Because a number of the women on that blog were not killed with guns. They were beaten to death with bats, they were stabbed, they were choked, they were set on fire, they had thrown off of balconies. It's not about guns. It's toxic masculinity. It is this idea that men have to show that they are in control and they own things, and if they don't get their ways, they have to make sure that they do get their way. Look at Elliot Rodgers. Look at everybody who picked up a gun, every man that picked up a gun and did a mass shooting because women wouldn't pay attention to him. And we're going to take this moment because you guys know that this is an issue that is very near and dear to me. Every week, I am able to report on a black woman being killed by an intimate partner or an ex-partner. That doesn't count Latina women, Asian women, white women. This is toxic masculinity. So we're raising our children, and what can we do? I am, I'm a mother of a black son. You guys know that already. And it is very difficult. Once my son started going to school, my whole utopian ideas of raising this, perfectly nuanced, feminist son went out the fucking window. Because they have friends. And they have friends who are raised by people who are ignorant. And they hear these things from these friends, and peer pressure comes in, and all these kinds of things. You're talking about honor killings, all of that stuff. All of that's related. You understand that honor killings are all related. It's from fathers who believe that they own the property rights of their daughters, and that their daughters somehow disrespected them as men. That's what honor killings are about. You, my daughter, who I own, disrespected me and made me look bad as a man. That's all that is. Or you, woman, you left me and you made me look bad as a man. Oh, and you took my kids too? So now you've taken my legacy from me. I'm just going to kill all y'all. Oh, well, if I can't have my legacy and have control and domination over my legacy, I'm just going to get rid of them because I don't want my legacy scattered around. So I'm just going to kill them too. Okay? So, gun violence in America. So, let's talk a little bit about this man a little bit more. We know he's black. We know he's gay. We know he wrote this manifesto. We know that he was talking. What did he say in his manifesto? Have you guys read the pieces of this manifesto? They say that he's a rant. It's got rage and praise. Okay. He says, well, after I compiled well over 100 pages chronicling the hurt in my life, I asked myself, why not? Hell, I'm surprised I didn't do this before now. You guys ever heard of Christopher Dorner? Anybody's ever heard of Christopher Dorner? Christopher Dorner was a black man who was a police officer, worked for the LAPD, tried to blow the whistle on their racism several times. Was basically kind of, one could say, driven to the point of racist insanity. Christopher Dorner loaded up on guns, went on a shooting spree. Christopher Dorner wrote a manifesto in which he talked about American racism and what it does to people. So here we have another black man, a black queer man, who's talking about, he's talking about racism, he's making these accusations. No, FJ is not excusing anything, so before y'all even think to type that shit, delete it, and fuck you. I'm not. However, what I'm saying is that we cannot disregard when they say these things. Even if they commit suicide, even if, whatever it is, we cannot disregard when people say these things. We have to listen, and we have to hear. And we have to think historically of all the times that black people were driven to violence because of racism. I'm not saying that's the case here, and I'm not saying that's the case in Christopher Dorner, and I'm not saying this is the case for some of the other people that have claimed it. It could be. But we have to think of all the times in which maybe the burden of racism has driven people to the point of violence. We know that it can be quite traumatic. We know that many people of color are living with some variation of post-traumatic stress disorder related to racist trauma and events. We know this. We know that this trauma is often generational and is often passed down. There's enough studies that show that trauma can be passed through DNA. There's enough it shows that mental health conditions can be passed through DNA, and there's enough studies that show that trauma and how it affects the conditioning and the nurturing of children and how we raise our children. We know this. This is not me pulling this out my ass. This is science. We know this. We have to think about the burdens that people live with every day. We have to think about the stress and the strife, the microaggressions, the macroaggressions. We have to think about all the things that people have dealt with for centuries. We're talking 20 to 25 generations of racist oppression against one group of people who still managed to be here. To assume that no person would ever snap and commit violent acts as a result is to be incredibly naive and to be violently racist. To not even acknowledge that as a possibility means that you don't acknowledge the humanity of black people, and you don't acknowledge our ability to be pushed to this limit where we snap. So let's think about that. He makes us think about this. We can write off his whole thing. We can write off this whole thing and just say, he was just another crazy motherfucker, whatever. I think we would not be wise to do that. I think we have to look at what's happening here. So this is the second case in maybe 5 years. When was Christopher Dorner? I can't even remember. It was during Twitter time, so it had to be within like the last 5 years. You have to think of how many times this has happened, and we just don't know that was the motivation. We have to think about all the suicide by cop, right? Suicide by cop, if you don't know what that is, look it up, Google it. Suicide by cop is generally associated with this idea that people will call the police and provoke the police into shooting them so that they die. I've talked about that on my timeline in the past, particularly related to black men and black boys who leverage the racism of the police state to carry out their suicidal ideation and intentions. We look at the case of Jamarian Lawhorn, who is currently on trial. At 12 years old, he stabbed a white boy at a playground several times. Jamarian, at 12 years old, knew that by stabbing a white boy, that the police would come and possibly kill him. In fact, 12-year-old Jamarian Lawhorn, when the police arrived, he begged them to kill him. He said, "Shoot me, kill me, I don't deserve to live. I stabbed this boy." See? He stabbed a white boy. 9-year-old white boy, Connor. Rest in peace, Connor. You know why Jamarian did that? Because Jamarian was being severely abused by his mother and his stepfather. Jamarian had been so abused that poor boy's body and mind were nearly destroyed, and he could not take it anymore. And the system failed him, and they visited, and they checked on him. And they did nothing. So this 12-year-old black boy, he goes to a playground with a knife, and he finds a white boy. And he stabs the white boy to death and tells the people, "Call the police because I just killed this boy." And when the police came, he begged them to kill him because he didn't want to live anymore. Okay? Excuse me. This is a case that I'm one of the few people that's actively following and documenting this case because he is a 12-year-old boy being charged with murder as an adult. And they're trying to dismiss that. They're trying to say he wasn't insane. They're trying to say that he was a mentally sound mind. Even though his father was just convicted for child abuse, his stepfather was just convicted for child abuse. His mother was convicted for welfare fraud. They didn't get her on the child abuse. It was the father, right? But yet they're saying that the boy was of sound mind and they're charging him with murder. So, he leveraged racism at 12 years old to try to end his life. Because that's the world we live in, where 12-year-old black boys know that white people hate them so much that if they do something to white people, they know that they could die. Right? We look at all these cases, we have to think about the impact of racism on our people and on young people and what we are doing as a community, and not just black people, like everybody. What are we doing? When we say Black Lives Matter, it's not just about protesting police brutality. It is eradicating racism. But how do we do that in a country that was founded on racism. You don't do that. We are not going to end racism in America as it is. That is not going to happen. And if you believe that it will, you are absolutely dead wrong. You are spinning your hamster wheel. It's not going to happen. America as it stands exists because of racism. It is sustained because of racism. America cannot exist by definition without racism. It will collapse. American capitalism will collapse without racism, without sexism, but mainly without racism. So how dare we think that we're going to eradicate racism? And if we do not eradicate racism, that we're fucking surely not going to change how the police treat us. So when we talk about Black Lives Matter, we really need to talk about the worth that we have to realize that we are way beyond fighting American racism. We are way beyond fighting global racism, because that shit ain't going to happen. We're talking about damn near extinction level event type shit that would have to happen to change all of this. And that's when activists and fighters and people like myself become jaded. It's around this age, this third Jupiter return. And if you're into astrology, that's, you get what I'm saying. You know that the second Jupiter return is when we believe that we can change the world. And our third Jupiter return is when we realize we cannot. And it's what happened with Malcolm and Martin. Their second Jupiter return happens every 12 years. 12 years, you hit 12, that's around puberty. You hit 24, that's like right when you're starting your life as a real adult after school. 36, you've already had maybe kids or whatever, or you're getting involved. You're in your mid-20s, you believe that you can change the world. And you're fighting hard and you're struggling. And when you get to your mid-30s, you could turn 36, and I'm 36 years old, is when you realize that you absolutely cannot. And then it becomes about survival. And then it becomes about reducing the harm. My agency, we go from a harm reduction model. So we really focus on this idea that you have to just reduce the harm and make lives as comfortable as possible. What time is it? I got 18 minutes before my show comes on. Okay. You said there's been some change. There's been some change. There's always going to be some change, right? There was change in Reconstruction. Black people had good jobs, owned homes, owned property, had rights to their property. Black people actually owned the land that they were on. Black people today don't own the land that they're on. Don't nobody in America own the land that they're on. You think you do, you don't. The government can take your land at any point in time. They can snap their fingers, it's gone, it's yours. Who cares if you paid for it? It's not yours. But black people actually owned land back then. Times were good. Queen Azinga had it real good. She fought against, selling people. She was like, no way, I'm not selling my own people. I'm fighting this charge. I'm not going to do it, Queen Azinga. Yeah, read about her. Till she sold her own people for guns. She was like, fuck it. Everybody else is doing it. Might as well round up some of these niggas and sell them for guns to these white folks. Black Wall Street. If you haven't read my story, Born Free, it is based in Greenwood in Tulsa, Oklahoma, 1921. Right during the Black Wall Street riots, when white people pretty much bombed an area that they called Little Africa because they hated that the black people were so prosperous. So in a matter of 2 days, they destroyed a whole town. Right? Oh, currently reading, y'all by. Thank you. I'm glad that you're reading. I appreciate it. You and Garvey sound exactly alike. I know, it's my son. What the hell? We're not going to eradicate racism. We're not. We're not going to eradicate sexism either. What we can try to do is minimize toxic masculinity. And I think with every generation, we really have to focus on, okay, how are we going to do things differently? No, she meant my son, Marcus. My son, Garvey. What are you talking about, dude? Relax. We have to just try to raise our children to be a little bit different. See, but the problem is that just as many of us are trying to change our children and teach them to be better, there's just as many of them teaching their children to be exactly the same. And a lot of folks, particularly white liberals, they're saying, oh, we're just waiting for these old white people to die out. You know, it's not a big thing. They're all going to die and racism's going to go away. No, it's not. Lot of young ass racist people out here, folks. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Oh, 19 years old. Dylan Roof. Young racist white dude in South Carolina. Decided he was going to go up in a church because the motherfucking girl he liked was dating a nigga. That's what we learned, right? That's what we learned about Dylan Roof. He was mad that the girl he liked was dating a black dude. So he went into the black church with a gun and said, y'all are taking all our women, so I'm going to shoot up all these motherfuckers. And that's what he did. He killed 9 people. Because he was mad at black men taking white women. Remember what I said about guns being used as an extension of manhood? So now there's 9 people dead. Because niggas is fucking white women. That's his rationale. No, I'm not blaming black men. No, I'm just saying that was his rationale. Okay? So, what are we going to do about gun violence in America? We ain't going to do shit. Congress, they will not pass any restrictive gun laws. President Obama's so fucking tired of them. Every time you see him talk about it, he's just like, here's another one. What you motherfuckers gonna do now? You keep telling me that we don't need these gun laws. We don't need to change shit. Oh, 10 more people dead. Oh, 7 more people dead. Oh, 2 more people dead. Oh, 20 kids dead. Oh, 9 people dead. Oh, 36 people dead. Oh, 12 people dead. Oh, President Obama, another press conference. What is you motherfuckers gonna do? Congress, they ain't gonna do shit. They love their guns. Their guns are their manhood. And they sure ain't gonna let no fucking Harvard Law graduate and monkey ass ape tell them that they have to get rid of him, right? Right? The Muslim non-American that they hate so much, right? Right. The NRA runs that shit for sure. I mean, that's what it is. The NRA gun lobby is one of the most powerful. Them, Philip Morris with the tobacco. I mean, what are you gonna do? Every president ages. Don't feel bad for them. They knew what they were. Their father knew what they was getting into. So that's kind of where we are. It's really about toxic masculinity. And yeah, you could say, okay, women have guns, blah, blah, blah. Show me some statistics where women come even remotely close to committing as many gun crimes as men do. And when you show me those statistics, show me how many of them. I'm going to give you a hint. It's about 80% are related to protecting themselves from men. I read somewhere, I think, and I could be off with this, I'll double check, that I think that a woman's risk of dying increases almost 500% when she owns a gun to protect herself. So y'all men, when men first say, when we talk about street harassment and rape and all stuff like that, men say, get a gun. I'm going to get my daughters guns so they can protect themselves. I'm going to tell my daughter how to shoot. Motherfucker, a man will grab that gun and put it to her head and blow her brains out. You've given her the gun. You've given him the gun to kill your daughter. And now what? I'm going to teach her how to use it. If your 125-pound daughter is facing a 240-pound man that has her by about 6 inches, what the fuck is all your teaching going to do when he snatches that gun out her head? Women are at a greater risk of dying by gun violence when they buy guns to protect themselves. This is a statistically proven fact Stop being ignorant ass assholes and giving information. But you see, that's what men say, because men believe that this is the way to solve everything with this violent ass aggression, right? So he's got a gun, I'm giving you a bigger gun. That's how y'all think. But y'all don't think about how that doesn't work for us and how it puts us in even more danger. And women and children, it puts us in even more danger. Okay? You know, you're 6'1". I mean, I'm 6 feet, and I had an ex-boyfriend put a gun to my head while he wanted me to suck his dick. I mean, you ain't saying nothing but a word, sis. I mean, I feel you, but shit happens. So I'm gonna end it here, but thank you all for tuning in. I generally do these every week. They're kind of pop up. I try to do it on Wednesdays. Sometimes I have to do it on Tuesday. Sometimes I do it on a Thursday. You guys know I'm a very busy person, but I do like this new way of communicating with you all. I used to have a radio show, you guys know, but I couldn't work that out anymore. So I'm hoping that you guys continue to tune in to my my weekly Periscope chats, and I love that you guys are so interactive, and you guys have your own conversations, which is exactly what I love. And you guys give me a lot to feed. I actually go back and I watch these and I read them and I read through everything that I missed. So I really appreciate that, and thank you for sharing with all of your friends and things like that. The only thing I want to ask you guys to do is, as many of you know, I am organizing a Women's Freedom Conference, and I would like you guys to spread the word. So tell people about the womensfreedomconference.com. It is for women of color. It is centering women of color and our issues around the world. We have had, we're going to have an amazing, amazing lineup of women. I can't wait to reveal them. Our advisory board is off the fucking chain. It's amazing, dynamic women around the whole world. So if you guys could really just kind of check that out and spread the word. And by this weekend, you'll have more information on the website to learn more about what we're doing. Right now, we're just trying to get our submissions because we want amateur folks, people who haven't presented before, to send us submissions for videos that they can put as a part of our conference. And it's 100% digital. So it's the first 100% digital conference that is centering the issues of women of color around the world. So we're making history, and I hope you all join us. We are raising money for it. You can find that information out. If you follow WMNCONF, Women's Freedom Conference, WMN Freedom CONF on Twitter. Somebody put that up there for me so they can see. Follow that and you'll get more information about how you can donate and support. That money is going towards paying women. We believe in paying women for their work. People educate. I don't get paid to do this podcast. I mean, this, particular broadcast. Many people, they say, oh, you teach me so much. I don't get paid to do this, but I love to do it. But we do believe in paying women for their work and for their education. Majora Carter from Sustainable South Bronx is going to be doing a webinar. DR Vargas, a Latina feminist mental health worker, she's doing a webinar. Mona Etalawi, world-renowned Muslim feminist woman, is going to be speaking. Basi Ikbi, poet, is going to be speaking. Catherine Finney, creator of Digital Undivided, is going to be speaking. I'm probably going to end up speaking. Mickey Kendall is going to be speaking. We're going to have all these amazing women lined up for this conference, and you're going to want to donate and support so that we can pay them. And honestly, I'm not making any money off of this. I'm actually going to be coming out of my pocket, I can already see. So it's not coming to me, it's going to them. We want to pay women for what they do. So please support us, spread the word, more information coming. It's October 25th, and we have 40 volunteers already. So who's my favorite classical theorist? I'm a sociology major as well. My favorite classical theorist is probably Paulo Freire. So, yeah, so you guys tune into that, and we'll talk later, okay? Thank you so much. Bye.